bring you a special program that offers insights and reports on the colourful, contentious and occasionally quirky panorama of elections. Something is always happening somewhere. This is a new special about leaders, their promises, voters and their demands. A show that tells you all about the rules of the race, cutting through the rhetoric to bring you the reality, cutting through the populism to bring out the policy at play. The show that keeps you updated on the twists and turns, the hits and the misses. Watch Race to Power on WION World is One.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us here. You're watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gampir. We start the show tonight on a grim note. This story is about the growing global war. Late on Tuesday, Pakistan was caught unaware when neighbouring Iran launched airstrikes on the country. Yes, the most powerful Shia Muslim country launched attacks on the world's most powerful Sunni Muslim country, and it was caught completely unprepared. Although both the Islamic nations have bonded on various issues in the past, underlying tensions have resurfaced amid the West Asia crisis. The latest attack by Iran on Pakistan, however, is unprecedented. This is how things unfolded. On the 16th of January, Tehran said it launched missile and drone attacks targeting bases of militant group Jaish Al-Adl based in Balochistan province. And why is that? That Tehran did not say. But Pakistan was left seething. Islamabad slammed Iran for violating its airspace. A statement released by Pakistan's Foreign Office spokesperson in the early hours of Wednesday said, and I'm quoting, "This violation of Pakistan's sovereignty is completely unacceptable and can have serious consequences." Pakistan's foreign ministry said in a statement. Iran said that its elite forces, the IRGC, targeted Jaish Al-Adl bases in Pakistan. But who are they and why did Iran target them? Here's a quick backgrounder before we go any further. The Jaish Al-Adl literally means the Army of Justice. They are a Sunni Salafist militant group that has bases in Pakistan's Balochistan province. It was founded in the year 2012. They are active in the mountainous border regions of Pakistan as well as Iran. But what exactly do they want? Well, they want independence. They are one of the several Sunni militant groups that are fighting for independence of the Sistan and Balochistan province. It is known as Asli Balochistan, and it is located in the southeastern corner of Iran, bordering Pakistan's Balochistan province. In the past, the group has had a long history of carrying out terrorist activities in southeastern Iran. They are a designated Sunni terrorist group by the US and Iran. They have claimed bombings and kidnapped members of Iran's border police. In fact, in December, suspected Jaish Al-Adl members killed 11 people when they attacked a police station in southeastern Iran. Iran has blamed Pakistan for hosting insurgents. But why Iran launched Tuesday's attack remains unclear. The bombings, which Iran said were aimed at Jaish Al-Adl, resulted in the death of at least 2 children. The Iranian state media said, without elaborating, that the militant bases in Pakistan were hit and destroyed by missiles and drones. Now, let's just get to the brass tacks of the matter. Pakistan claims Iran violated its sovereignty. Here's a question. What was its powerful military doing? What was the ISI doing? How did Pakistan's air defense fail to detect missiles from across the border? The entire episode just proves that Pakistan is a neighbor that nobody likes. Even if you take out the Shia-Sunni sectarian divide out of the equation, Pakistan's relationship has not been good with any of its neighbors. Forget its frosty ties with India. Just look at how Islamabad's ties are with Afghanistan, how they have nosedived. Frankly, the entire episode is a much-needed message for Pakistan. For decades, terrorists in Pakistan have received state protection. Terrorists have been able to organize, plan, raise funds, recruit, train and operate on Pakistani soil freely. And for decades, Pakistan's neighbors, including the most vocal one, India, have accused Islamabad of harboring terrorists. This age-old policy of Pakistan has now come to bite. It is the reason behind Iran's attack. After the attack, Islamabad lodged a protest with Tehran. They summoned the head of the Iranian mission in Islamabad. Later on Wednesday, Pakistan expelled the Iranian ambassador and recalled its envoy from Tehran. But Pakistan's real response is just bluster. After all, you can only expect bluster from a blunder government. Defense experts in India, therefore, are not surprised. They say it was bound to happen. They have created this monster, and that is why there are no sympathizers, even as Islamabad raises a stink. But as I mentioned right in the beginning, Iran's attack on Pakistan amid the crisis in West Asia, pointing to the growing threat of a global war. National sovereignties are melting in the heat of the war. Iran carried out airstrikes on a terror group deep inside another country's borders. The question is, will Islamabad retaliate? And if it does, will Pakistan be pulled into a broader regional conflict? Is Islamabad ready for it? Or more importantly, is the world ready for it? And Pakistan's Minister for Information, Murtaza Solanki, sat down for an exclusive conversation with WION's Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik. Here's what Solanki had to say about Iran's strike.
Given the history of cordial relations between Iran and Pakistan, it was a sad incident that happened yesterday. And the government of Pakistan, especially the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has already responded. We have taken some measures and we are assessing the situation. We are also in the process of investigation. What happened and when, and who is responsible for it, despite the claims that have been made, but we would not rush to judgment.
Shifting focus to another zone of conflict in the Himalayas. I am talking about the secret clashes between Indian and Chinese troops. New details reveal that tensions continued through 2021 and 2022. At least 2 previously unknown incidents of skirmishes have now come to light. Last week, the Indian Army presented gallantry awards to personnel for acts of bravery. One such act involved the relaying of live feed from the enemy side in the Sikkim sector by a major rank officer for 120 hours. The incidents mentioned in the citations took place between September 2021 and November 2022. There was no immediate comment on the matter by the Indian Army. Following the clashes between the Indian and Chinese troops in 2020, the Indian Army has maintained a very high level of alertness. It has kept its troops combat ready along the 3,488-kilometer-long line of actual control. In the last 3.5 years following the eruption of the Rao, in the eastern Ladakh area, there have been multiple incidents of skirmishes. The Chinese troops have attempted to transgress in India's Tawang sector as well. In fact, on the 9th of December 2022, Chinese troops tried to transgress the LAC in the Yangtze area of Tawang sector. And 4 days after the incident, in the Indian Parliament, the Defence Minister had said that China's bid to transgress was contested by the Indian troops in a firm and resolute manner. According to Indian media, several Indian Army personnel who were part of the team that responded firmly to China's aggression were also conferred gallantry awards at last week's investiture ceremony. Since the standoff, both India and China have held multiple rounds of diplomatic talks. The 28th round of talks that took place in the first week of December ended with no clear indication of a major breakthrough. The talks were held virtually. These talks take place under the framework of the Working Mechanism for the Consultation and Coordination of India-China Border Affairs. The Indian Foreign Ministry described these talks as constructive. You see, both New Delhi and Beijing agree on the need to maintain peace and tranquility along the border areas. At the same time, both India and China have ramped up the troop build-up at the border. After the beginning of the standoff, India and China rushed thousands of troops in forward posts along the LAC. Here, they largely continue to remain deployed. The disengagement and de-escalation is still incomplete. The Indian side remains the same, restoration of status quo ante as on April 2020. It entails restoration of patrolling rights till the traditional patrolling points. And even though China agrees that peace at the border is imperative, Beijing has undertaken massive build-up of infrastructure habitat. They are inducting new weapons as well as military equipment along the LAC. Their goal is to fundamentally alter the status quo on the ground. And India is more than aware. New Delhi also has undertaken massive capability enhancement. Over 50,000 troops, heavy equipment continue to be stationed. In conclusion, both sides resolve to continue talks in order to achieve stability on the ground. China says it wants peace but remains resolute when it comes to withdrawing its troops from LAC. And this has meant that India's bilateral ties with China remain frozen in 2023 with no forward movement on the horizon. This is despite the several rounds of military and diplomatic talks. In the words of India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, the Chinese literally brought tens of thousands of soldiers in full military preparation at the border in Ladakh in violation of all bilateral agreements. So it is India that wants peace for the overall development of bilateral ties, and the disturbance is all thanks to China. The countdown has started. 5 days from now, the Ram Temple in Ayodhya will be inaugurated. The rituals have already started, and at this point, it's like all roads are leading to Ayodhya. The demand for travel to Ayodhya has shot up. Prices of air and train tickets have skyrocketed. Let's just look at some numbers now. A flight ticket from Delhi to Ayodhya would usually cost 3,500 to 4,000 rupees. But in the run-up to the consecration ceremony, the fare has more than tripled to 15,000 rupees. From Mumbai, it's 33,000. According to Ease My Trip, flight bookings to Ayodhya have gone up 150%. The demand is so high that SpiceJet will operate a special flight from Delhi to Ayodhya on the 21st of January. It is also set to launch non-stop flights connecting Ayodhya with Mumbai, Bengaluru and Chennai. Indigo also did the same recently. Ayodhya's newly built Maharishi Valmiki International Airport was just inaugurated on the 30th of December. It has not even been a month. Hotel chains also have been gearing up to welcome a huge wave of guests. Ayodhya is expecting a footfall of 300,000 tourists every day for the coming months. Just last week, the luxury hotel chain Radisson also opened Park Inn in Ayodhya. It received a flood of bookings immediately after the launch. And it's not just Ayodhya, nearby Lucknow, Prayagraj, Gorakhpur also witnessing a surge. Budget hospitality chain Oyo has also announced expansion plans in major spiritual hotspots. It is gearing up to launch 400 properties in Ayodhya, Puri, Shirdi, Varanasi, Amritsar, Tirupati, Haridwar. In the Oyo app, when it comes to searches for stay, Ayodhya consistently held the top position. On New Year's Eve, the city saw a 70% surge in Oyo app users. So who all have been invited for the Ram Temple consecration ceremony in Ayodhya? The list includes names like megastar Rajnikant, who has received an invite. Also cricket sensation Sachin Tendulkar, MS Dhoni, Virat Kohli, actor Anushka Sharma, Ranbir Kapoor, Alia Bhatt, actor Ayushmann Khurrana, Jackie Shroff, along with his family. Today, actor and MP Hema Malini performed a Ramayana dance in Ayodhya. The 75-year-old is a trained Bharatanatyam dancer. As the historic day of the Ram Temple inauguration gets closer, we will continue to get you all the latest updates. It's 2024 and our world is in the middle of two wars, the Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas war. And as these two wars rage on, there is a growing fear that there could be more conflicts as more and more countries boost their military capabilities. At a time like this, it helps to look at just how powerful each country's military really is. Global Firepower has done just that. It's a website that keeps a track of global defense information, and earlier today it released its annual rankings of militaries around the world. What do the rankings actually reveal? Which country has the most powerful military, and where does India stand on the list? Let's find out. On the first spot is the United States. It has the highest power index, a military spending of $876 billion and over 2 million military personnel. Besides this, the nation commands 13,300 aircraft, 983 formidable attack helicopters, 4,657 tanks. The report says that the US has attained its dominant position through unparalleled influence in critical material, finances, resource domains. America's global supremacy also extends into technological frontiers, with some stellar achievements in the medical, aerospace and telecommunications sectors. On the second spot is Russia. It has a military spending of $86 billion and a total And in fact, the military personnel number, the Russian strength is further fueled by advanced technology, a formidable and adept military leadership, and a significant strategic influence globally. However, the report says that the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war has led to certain deficiencies in leadership, preparedness, and supply chain management within the Russian military. But despite these shortcomings, Russia maintains its hold on the second position among the world's top 10 armies. And this resilience underscores Russia's enduring military might. On the third spot is Russia's ally China. It has a total military spending of $292 billion. China also has 3,166 aircraft, 4,950 tanks among its substantial resources. The country has been making substantial efforts to bolster its naval, air power, and land warfare capabilities. Plus, it also enjoys significant advantages with significant manpower. And guess who is on the fourth spot? India. With a power index of 0.1023, India has bagged the fourth spot on the list of the world's most powerful countries when it comes to the military. India has a military spending of $81 billion. This is the highest number of military personnel for any country. India also possesses a total of 2,210 aircraft, over 4,614 tanks, 295 assets in its naval forces. The report says that India's formidable standing among the world's top 5 military forces is attributed to factors like its substantial population, careful emphasis on digitization and modernization, and the efficacy of its domestic military-industrial complex. These capabilities solidify India's position as a force to be reckoned with on the global military landscape. And on the fifth spot is South Korea. It has a military spending of $46.4 billion and a total number of the military personnel also boasting of impressive inventory comprising over 133,000 vehicles, 739 helicopters, which includes a formidable array of 112 attack helicopters. The report says that South Korea's commitment to security resonates deeply, driven by enduring tensions with North Korea that have persisted for decades now. South Korea's military prowess also serves as a tangible testament to its unwavering dedication to safeguarding national interests and ensuring regional stability. These were the top 5. If we speak of the rest, on the 6th spot is the UK, followed by Japan on the 7th spot, Turkey on the 8th spot, Pakistan on the 9th. Italy has the 10th most powerful military in the world. These countries have achieved these ranks by taking into account over 60 factors like the total number of troops, military equipment, financial stability, their respective military budgets, geographical location, resources available for usage, just to name a few. What about the weakest militaries in the world? Well, Bhutan has been found to have the weakest military along with Moldova, Suriname, Somalia, Benin. They all have the lowest power index, the least number of military personnel, and the lowest number of active military personnel. All these rankings assume even more significance given how conflicts and wars continue to rear their ugly head in the year 2024. And here's hoping that these conflicts die down as the year progresses. Historically, Canada has been a popular destination for Indian students, but things seem to be changing now. There has been a surprising 86% drop in study permits. But what's triggering this dramatic decline and what's going on? Let's break it all down for you. In the year 2022, in fact, Indians made up more than 41% of the study permits. That's over 225,000 students. This promising trend took a sharp downturn thereafter. According to official data, the fourth quarter of last year saw an 86% reduction in the study permits issued to the Indian students, a dramatic drop from 108,940 to a mere 14,910. C. Guru Subramaniam from the Indian High Commission in Ottawa highlighted additional concerns about Canadian institutions' facilities. This turn of events also has serious financial implications, by the way, for Canadian universities. International students, especially Indians, have been a crucial economic contributor, bringing in about $16.4 billion annually. But now Canada's government itself is scrambling to address the inflow of students. Immigration Minister Mark Miller admitted that the influx has become unsustainable, and in response, the government is considering a cap on international students. Additionally, Canada is seeking to reduce the overall number of international students. This is partly in response to the ongoing house shortage, and plans include curbs on off-campus work hours, potentially causing labour shortages in some sectors. Miller has expressed uncertainty about the future of diplomatic relations. Meanwhile, Indian students are turning to alternative destinations. Germany stands out with its no tuition policy at public universities and affordable living costs. Spain attracts with lower tuition fees ranging from $815 to $3,806 per year, depending on the program. New Zealand offers a variety of courses and financial aid, though at a higher cost. And Russia appeals with its strengths in science and tech fields, affordable tuition and living costs. This shift in student preferences also signaling evolving dynamics in global education as students and institutions adapt to the new realities. Our next story is from the International Court of Justice. It is deliberating on a case of genocide against Israel brought by South Africa. And as the deliberations continue, South African lawyers are apparently planning to bring another lawsuit. This one will allegedly accuse the US and the UK of being complicit in Israel's actions in Gaza. Our next report telling you more.
Is history finally catching up with the US and the UK? This question is buzzing across Western capitals. Courtesy South Africa, it has brought a case against Israel at the ICJ, accusing it of genocide in Gaza.
The international community has repeatedly failed. It failed the people of Rwanda. It had failed the Bosnian people and the Rohingya, prompting this court to take action. It failed again by ignoring the early warnings of the grave risk of genocide to the Palestinian people, sounded by international experts since 19th of October of last year.
Meanwhile, South African lawyers are also preparing a separate lawsuit, a lawsuit against the American and British governments, accusing them of being complicit in Israel's alleged war crimes in Palestine. This initiative is led by South African lawyer Wikus van Rensburg. It aims to prosecute the leaders of these two countries. This is what he told reporters in a recent interview. The United States must now be held accountable for the crimes it committed. Many lawyers decided to join us in the lawsuit. Many of those who have joined us are Muslims, but I am not. They feel obligated to assist this cause, but I believe that what is happening is incorrect. What do those behind the lawsuit plan to do next? Well, they say they expect the ICJ to serve as a guide for their initiative, and that they'll act according to the UN court's ruling. Reports say the ICJ is expected to rule on South Africa's request for provisional measures in the coming weeks. The ruling could also potentially see Israel being asked to halt its war on Gaza. The lawyers say the verdict could also see America and the UK facing sanctions, even if they do not accept the verdict. They point at the role of these two countries in the creation of Israel. They also blame them for creating chaos across West Asia, be it through the American invasion of Iraq, the war on terror in Afghanistan, or UK's colonial-era policies in West Asia. They say due to the historical role of these two countries, they cannot evade responsibility for what's unfolding in West Asia today. Last we checked, both the US and the UK had refused to comment on the lawsuit. But Israel's Prime Minister has acknowledged it. In a recent statement, he said that Israel will not be deterred by the ICJ from pursuing its war against the Hamas until total victory.
We today mark 100 days of war, 100 days since the terrible days on which our citizens were slaughtered and kidnapped. We are continuing the war to its conclusion, to total victory, until we have achieved all of our objectives: the elimination of Hamas, the return of all our hostages, and the guarantee that Gaza will never again pose a threat to Israel. We will restore security both in the south and in the north. No one will stop us, not The Hague, not the axis of evil, nor anyone else.
לא האג, לא ציר הרשע, ולא אף אחד אחר.
Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Which is the highest valued currency in the world? I'm going to stop you before you say the US dollar, because it's not. And if anything, it is the last on the Forbes list. That's right, the Forbes list of the top 10 strongest currencies is out. And which one topped the chart? It's Kuwaiti dinar. It's valued at 270 rupees. That's $3.25. The Kuwaiti dinar has consistently been the strongest currency since 1960. And why is that? Well, all thanks to Kuwait's economic stability. Its oil reserves and the tax-free system are also major contributors. Following the Kuwaiti dinar is the Bahraini dinar. Its value is 220 rupees or $2.65. This currency is exclusively used in Bahrain. This island nation in the Arabian Gulf relies heavily on oil exports. It also has a strong community of expats, many of whom are Indians, and all of this places the Bahraini dinar on the second rank. Moving on, there is Omani Riyal. Oman also has a bustling oil sector. Its Riyal only came into existence after the country stopped using the Indian rupee, and now it is valued at 215 rupees or $2.6. And then we have the Jordanian dinar, followed by Gibraltar pound, British pound, Cayman Island dollar, Swiss franc euro, and finally the US dollar. Now the question is, what makes these currencies strong? How are they compared? How are they ranked? You see, it's not simply about their popularity. Neither is it about their use. If that was the case, the dollar or pound should have topped the list, but that is not how it works, you see. The strength of the currency is determined by the number of goods and services it can actually purchase. It depends on how much foreign currency can you get in that exchange. The country's economic growth, political stability, natural resources, the global demand also playing crucial roles in determining the currency's value. And I don't need to tell you this, the world of currencies is dynamic, to say the least. The value, the rankings keep changing. But there is one currency which is known for its resilience and stability, and it is the Swiss franc, the currency of Switzerland. Its value rapidly rose in 2015. You see, Switzerland has a long history of low debt and fiscal responsibility. It has hard assets like gold reserves. It has also been in a long-term deflationary cycle for some time, and due to these reasons, the Swiss franc is a top pick among the investors looking for security.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking.
We now get you a story that highlights an unusual flight experience and the remarkable patience displayed in a tight spot. quite literally. This incident concerns a SpiceJet passenger stuck in the loo for an hour. Among viral videos and stories of rash behavior at airports and on board aeroplanes, this tale is one about patience shown by the passenger and the crew and those on board. Now imagine being trapped in an airplane toilet for an hour. Well, that's exactly what happened to a passenger on a SpiceJet flight from Mumbai to Bengaluru. After the seatbelt sign went off post-takeoff, a male passenger headed towards the loo only to find himself unable to exit due to a faulty door lock. The passenger's ordeal lasted until the flight landed in Bengaluru, and for an entire hour he was stuck inside awaiting rescue. Meanwhile, outside, fellow passengers faced their own challenge, not being able to use the loo throughout the course of the entire journey. The crew was patient, and in an attempt to ease the trapped travelers' anxiety, they passed notes through the door. One note read, "Sir, we tried our best to open the door. However, we could not open it. Do not panic. We are landing in a few minutes. So please close the commode lid and sit on it and secure yourself. As soon as the main door is open, the engineer will come. Do not panic." SpiceJet, in a statement, confirmed the incident, noting that the passenger received assistance throughout the journey. And upon landing, an engineer quickly freed him from his uncomfortable confinement. The airline expressed regret for the inconvenience and has offered the passenger full refund. This incident comes in the wake of a recent DGCA report, in fact, highlighting the rising number of passenger-related complaints against the domestic airlines. In December 2023 alone, 712 complaints were registered, majority of which were related to flight issues and refunds. The report revealed that SpiceJet topped the list with 422 complaints, followed by Air India and Indigo. These complaints ranged from flight-related issues, also issues with refunds, baggage. And tonight, as we reflect on this incident and what unfolded, it also sheds light on the unexpected situations that air travel can actually bring forth, the crucial role that patience and composure actually play, both from the passenger trapped inside and the crew and the passengers waiting outside. This, of course, is in sharp contrast to other viral aviation stories like this one, in which an unruly Indigo passenger slapped the pilot due to a long delay in the departure. A prolonged dry spell in the Kashmir Valley has sent alarm bells ringing in Jammu and Kashmir. No snowfall in tourist places like Gulmarg, Pahalgam, Sonmarg have hit the tourism industry hard. Experts now saying that water bodies across the Kashmir Valley are drying up. Here's a detailed report.
A dry spell that is now into 45 days is hitting water bodies hard. The water level in the river Jhelum has hit its lowest. Jammu and Kashmir's irrigation department says the river was flowing at 0.75 feet at Sangam in Anantnag and 0.86 feet at Asham in Bandipora. Alarm bells have started ringing.
Water level तो काफी ज़्यादा drastic decrease in levels.
Water level has drastically decreased in the water bodies. Fortunately, our irrigation season has not started, and that's why it has not impacted us yet. If the same situation continues, we will have to sit with the agriculture people to see if we need to change the agriculture patterns in the valley.
Several water supply schemes which rely on springs, wells and other water sources have been hit. This is the lowest water level in the Jhelum River since 2017. The valley recorded 79% deficit snowfall in December and 100% deficit in January. The Met Department has said there is no major prediction of any wet spell in the coming days.
Weather has been dry for the last 45 days, and we are expecting that after 16th January, there could be some respite in North Kashmir, like Kupwara and Baramulla. The other areas will also receive some rain and snow, although no major wet weather is expected in the coming days.
Several water supply schemes which rely on springs, wells and other water sources have been hit. Across the valley, people are holding special prayers and rituals and seeking divine intervention to end the dry spell in Kashmir Valley.
And as we all are in the thick of the chilly embrace of winter in most parts of the world, meanwhile, one comforting concoction that has always taken center stage is hot chocolate. Our next story takes you through the joy that binds this beverage and its universal appeal. Take a look.
A symphony of flavors, hot chocolate's velvety concoction transcends borders, weaving its way through culinary histories and warming hearts across continents. Beyond its delightful taste, hot chocolate can offer health benefits too. Opting for high-quality dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa brings antioxidants and potential mood-boosting benefits. Substituting whole milk with alternatives like almond or oat milk provides a lighter option. Moderation is key, turning this winter favorite into a guilt-free pleasure. Now let's go through some different kinds of hot chocolate from around the world that simply make our winter better. First up, the French elegance. In France, the art of chocolat chaud is a testament to their prowess in decadent desserts. A blend of high-quality chocolate, whole milk and cream creates a thick spoon-worthy liquid. It's a rich and slightly bitter indulgence, easily remedied by a touch of sugar. Another sumptuous version of hot chocolate is from Italy. In Italy, Cioccolata Calda showcases a thicker version of hot chocolate with heavy cream, milk and a hint of cornstarch. This dense delight drips and charms, embodying the Italian love for all things indulgent. Next up, the Indian version of hot chocolate stands out by using white chocolate and a blend of spices like cinnamon, star anise, ginger and cardamom. This unique beverage offers a delightful fusion of chai and white chocolate flavors, perfect for a cozy winter evening. And lastly, Spanish hot chocolate. Spanish hot chocolate paired with churros form a popular combination. The hot chocolate features a thick, fudge-like consistency made with cornstarch, whole milk, dark chocolate, cayenne pepper and white sugar. The mixture is thickened and cooled for a rich texture. This hot chocolate complements not only sweetbreads but also pairs well with fruits. What makes hot chocolate universally cherished, especially during winters, is its ability to transcend cultural boundaries. Each country's unique recipe reflects its culinary identity, offering a diverse palette of flavors to warm the soul. So as the cold winds blow, take a sip, savor the richness and let the world's hot chocolate variations embrace you in a comforting global hug.
We've all seen glossy pictures posted by online influencers, globe-trotting couples. They put together accounts of their exquisite holidays. In some cases, snapshots from their lavish lifestyle stitched together as videos become a part of their online identity. But what if other people have been looted to fund that lavish lifestyle? I know that sounds quite horrible, but in one case, this actually happened. And now the lid has been blown off. Tonight, we get you the story of a couple from the UK. You would be appalled to find out what they actually did. Well, they would seem like just another couple spending generously on luxurious items, but they were actually using other people's money. How exactly? Well, by stealing their credit cards. And you know where this happened? They would steal the cards from gym lockers while the victims were exercising. Can you believe that? Imagine working out, sweating it out at the gym, only to come back to your locker to find your card missing. Let me tell you more about what this couple did. Ashley Singh and Sophie Breuer maxed out the credit cards. They would use the cards for designer gear, for example, that would be sold, and then the cash would be used to splurge on expensive items like bags, sunglasses, jewelry, lavish holidays, and they were flaunting it all on social media. You know how many people were targeted? Not 5, not 10, 18 of them. 14 of the crimes, in fact, were reported in London, which is already infamous for robberies and thefts. The couple got arrested at Gatwick Airport. Ashley Singh, who is 39, was jailed for 3 years, while Sophie Breuer, who is 20 years old, was sentenced to 20 months at a Young Offenders Institute, a rehabilitation program, and 120 hours of unpaid work. Detective Constable Luis Martins da Silva expressed how Londoners are worried about theft and how it's a horrible crime and it causes a lot of stress and financial loss, which is why it has been reported this was taken seriously and the whole team was committed to catching the couple. This crime also robs one of trust, of course. The judge described the impact, in fact, like instances where people no longer felt safe around strangers. In fact, the detectives have said that they will now be looking to forfeit the proceeds of the crimes in order to try and help compensate those who went through this ordeal. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. We're leaving you with Gravitas images. Thanks very much for watching.
भाई बाइट दोगे?
Ayodhya comes alive as it counts down to the grand consecration ceremony. Prime Minister Modi to lead the inauguration of the Ram Temple. A story of faith, devotion, and dreams fulfilled.